Hey guys, welcome to my very first video on the Division 2 preview series. In this series I have collected every part of information right now available about the game. So if you watch these, you should be prepared when the game launches on March 15th or on March 12th if you bought the Gold Edition or better. Now this series will be divided into several parts because otherwise it would transform into one gigantic video, and who would watch that? So the parts will be the world setting and the enemy factions. That's gonna be this one. Next you will have the missions and the raids, the players versus player, the end game, the specializations and the clan system. Alright guys, let's go! The setting in Division 1 is Washington DC, the capital of the US. Now the map alone will be as impressive as we're used to of Ubisoft by now. And the part of the city I saw in the beta was as detailed as it could be. I mean, garbage bags stacked against the buildings, the fauna and flora has started taking over the world. It all looks great, and reportedly the map will be 20% bigger than New York. Now, while the story in the Division 1 was more about the almost extermination of the human race, the Division 2 will actually focus more on its resurrection, and you will notice this also in how the world, this time not only exists solely out of safe houses, which actually served more as a safe place in order to survive. Now, in Washington you will have rather more settlements that you can actually upgrade after doing quests and collecting resources. Now these are rather towns where people can gain not only the means to survive, but also gain some resemblance of hope again. Now if you complete the main storylines in these settlements, you can also recruit staff for your main base at the White House. And this staff will in each turn unlock certain tools like the skills and crafting. But let's make something clear. Washington DC isn't all fun and games. There are 4 factions of enemies out there, each with their own twisted goals, going from the hyenas comparable to the Rikers from the Division 1, who wear gas masks and just try to kill everyone any way they can, going from taking steroids before rushing in with a club to holding their gun sideways like a real gangsta. Only the strongest individuals will lead this pack of wild dogs. But then you have the True Sons, who are different in many ways. They are being led by a former JTF officer. They are actually pretty much a militia that employs different tactics. They deploy more well-equipped men like snipers, rushers with shotguns and medics, and they have the common sense to shoot your drones down, especially if it is regenerating your armor mid-combat. And then you haven't even seen the outcasts yet. These are men and women who are hell-bent on revenge after being locked into the quarantine for too long. Not only do they believe everyone is guilty for their suffering, but they also preach a religion of their own. And at the end game you will meet the Black Tusk, a secretive private military organization whose goals are unclear, but it is apparent that the Division agents are their prime targets. They employ superior tactics, skills and gear, but they also wield new gadgets from automated turrets to explosive drones and warhounds. Now, these factions will all be fighting for control over Washington DC outside the main storyline. A few ways they do this is by organizing propaganda runs, public executions, stealing supply drops, and more. These will show up on your map as a question mark until you run to the location. Besides that, you will also have the control points. Generally, they are the key locations that the factions control and defend, but the agent can send up a flare to ask for reinforcements from a nearby settlement and storm these locations. If successful, you gain access to their supply room, which is generally filled with a lot of loot, and these are also become points that you can fast travel to, and you can resupply these places with food, water and materials, which will often be necessary to complete certain projects for those settlements I mentioned earlier.